A friend of mine who is not religious and has no interest in spiritual matters recently called to tell me about a conversation he just had with his mother's neighbor, a woman in her 60s whom he trusted, who had helped care for his mother in the years leading up to her death. The woman told him she had been to see a medium who told her that by her next birthday, although she wouldn't be wealthy, she would receive a windfall that would be enough to support her through retirement. Then she met another medium who said, "I wouldn't normally tell anyone this, but you should know. Within a year, your husband will die of a heart attack." As predicted, shortly afterward her husband died of a heart attack, and by her next birthday probate had been granted, which left her with enough money for the rest of her days. In No One's Dead, the Jesus Messages, I recount a premonition reported by Sugar Ray Robinson. In June 1947, the legendary boxer arrived in Cleveland, Ohio, to fight 22-year-old welterweight Jimmy Doyle. Days before the fight, while staying at a friend's home, Robinson had a dream. In his autobiography, Sugar Ray, he wrote, "In the dream, Jimmy Doyle was in the ring with me. I hit him a few good punches, and he was on his back, his blank eyes staring up at me, and I was staring down at him, not knowing what to do. And the referee was moving in to count to 10, and Doyle still wasn't moving a muscle. And in the crowd, I could hear people yelling, 'He's dead! He's dead!' Then I woke up." He told his trainer, who brushed it off, saying, "Forget it, Robinson. That's a dream, that's all." Despite his fears, the fight went ahead, and in the 8th round, Doyle was knocked out. Robinson recalled, "I stood over him, transfixed, seeing my dream come true, horribly true. You warned me, God, I was thinking. You told me." Doyle was taken to hospital and died soon after. If the account by Robinson is true, it's evident that he foresaw a future event. It appears that beyond our three-dimensional plus-time world, in certain instances, the future can be seen, but it seems to be a potential future rather than a fixed future, with free will allowing us to change our own part in it. An analogy might be that of a passenger in a car hurtling toward a cliff. One can foresee him being driven over the edge, and the closer he gets, the more certain the outcome appears. Yet the driver still has the free will to turn or stop before they reach it. This could explain why those who claim to see the future or have precognitive dreams are sometimes uncannily accurate, and at other times completely wrong. We don't know whether Robinson had had anxiety dreams in the past in which he'd killed his opponents. But what we do know is that he had knocked out many of them before, but never killed any. And this time, days before the fight, he dreamed Doyle would die at his hand. And he did. In Spirit World and Spirit Life 1922 by Charlotte E. Dresser, the subject of humans being guided or influenced in the physical world came up, and the spirit communicator was asked by Dresser, "Was the demon of Socrates his spirit guide?" The reply came, "His guide took the form of a spirit and was near to protect him, but did not suggest any course of action. That was left to Socrates' own judgment. That is where free will comes in. There are influences from here, but they are not strong enough to sweep human life into them. The spirit within each life is the deciding power as to which influence shall be received. Otherwise, life would lose its power of choice, its free will, and its responsibility. There are influences constantly going out toward humanity from here. There are inspirations toward good. There are sinister suggestions toward evil, and it is the inherent choice of the individual that decides which shall rule his life. Just how much can you foretell? Not much. We can see circumstances and the probable results, and many are able to tell the future somewhat from them. But I do not think I am gifted in that way. Some people seem to have a gift of prophecy, yet it is a psychic gift, or possibly a keen intuition, that can foresee results from certain conditions. We are not creatures of fate. Set that down as a truth not to be denied. In his 1973 book, Dream Telepathy, co-author Alan Vaughn reported an incident of his own in which he watched one of his favorite writers, Kurt Vonnegut Jr., on a television talk show one evening and had a dream about him 2 nights later. On March 13, 1970, he wrote to Vonnegut to tell him about his experience. "You appeared in a dream I had this morning. We were in a house full of children. You were planning to leave soon on a trip. Then you mentioned that you were moving to an island named Jerome. As far as I know, there is no such place, so perhaps the name Jerome or the initial J has some related meaning. Vonnegut's answer came back in a letter dated March 28, 1970. Not bad, he replied. On the night of your dream, I had dinner with Jerome B., an author of children's books, and we talked about a trip I made 3 days later to an island named England. One scientific objection to extrasensory perception, or the broader term PSI, is that for it to occur, thoughts must travel faster than the speed of light, as is the case with telepathy. The current scientific consensus is that faster than light travel is impossible in our physical universe, meaning mind-to-mind communication must also be impossible unless minds are somehow connected, a concept not currently accepted by mainstream science. If someone in New Zealand has a dream, vision, or just a hunch that someone died in a car crash in New York, and then discovers that at that very time, the person did die in a car crash in New York, if it's not a coincidence, it suggests connectivity between minds. Materialists will tell you there's no scientific evidence for PSI, meaning it hasn't been measured, isn't repeatable on demand, and there's no accepted hypothesis or theory to explain it, therefore it doesn't exist. At the other end of the spectrum, Orthodox religions tell us we should have faith and not ask questions, for fear the devil might corrupt us. Meanwhile, the evidence keeps piling up. Currently, physicists are suggesting that time and space might not be fundamental, and multiverses and simulation theories are being posited in a bid to explain the TOE, the theory of everything. As of now, the TOE remains elusive, and reality is up for grabs. In 1878, German physicist Philipp von Jolly reportedly advised the young Max Planck, who would later become the pioneer of quantum physics, not to go into theoretical physics because it was a highly developed, almost fully matured science. How wrong he was. Quantum theory and Einstein's theory of relativity did what science does best. Rather than settling for the 2nd-century belief that the Newtonian worldview explained reality, they demonstrated that it was incomplete, just as our current materialist model appears to be incomplete. Maybe in another 100 years, physicists will have figured it out. Jonathan Beecher is the author of No One's Dead, The Jesus Messages, published by White Crow Books. This article can also be found on Substack,